Adam, another game where maybe a sort of a 15, 20-minute patch in that first quarter's probably come back to bite you guys. I mean, what's the key thing you're feeling at the moment after that one?
Obviously really disappointed with the result. I thought the game was, aside from that, probably first 20 minutes of the game was relatively even in terms of the numbers and whether it was stoppage or whether it was inside 50s or stuff like that. But, I mean, we didn't show up to defend well enough against their attack, which we know is really good. Coming in, their back half attack is still really strong. They're still able to score from that. We conceded far too many uncontested marks in that first quarter, 27, I think, from the top of my head. And when you allow Sydney to play that brand, they're really, really difficult to stop. So yeah, that was probably the summary of the first quarter. I thought we tightened that up after quarter time, but a little bit too little, too late.
You mentioned that Sydney's attack, they almost went with a different strategy, having Joel Hamling and Aaron Francis both playing almost predominantly as defensive forwards and trying to take Bucks and Sam out of the game. I mean, how do you guys work around that if maybe that's something more teams do?
Well, we've had it happen to us in the past, particularly against Sam. So, we just deal with it. We defend the matchup and look to support one another as best as we can. So, I mean, I don't think. Personally, I didn't feel like that their negative roles against those two boys was the reason why their first quarter started like that, particularly. Probably neither of our key backs had a significant influence on the game, so maybe that worked. But I mean, the first quarter was where the damage was done, as you mentioned, and it was around uncontested marks and their ability to then go off the back of that.
How is Toby Bedford?
Look, he seems okay. He's just got really blurred vision. He can't see out of that eye at all. And so we had to sort of make the sub at half-time, which was, obviously quite disappointing for us. He'd started on Heaney and didn't start particularly well, but he'd shifted to Warner after probably 5 minutes of that quarter and was doing a really good job. I don't think Warner had touched the ball and maybe had one for the remainder of the quarter. So, no doubt it was certainly a little bit crippling for us.
And what do you make of that incident with Lewis Mulligan?
Well, it was over the other side of the field, so I didn't really see it. I haven't watched the replay, so it's probably not fair for me to make comment on that.
Is it particularly frustrating when Toby plays such a critical role against a side like the Swans with those two?
Yeah, it is, and every team has the same. When it's a really important player to the way that you play structurally, then you've got to go to Plan B, which isn't as good as Plan A. If it was, it'd be Plan A. So that's what we had to do.
And did he pass his HIA and?
Well, I believe so. I don't actually know, to be fair. I haven't been told that he's got concussion or there's an issue there, so I imagine he has.
So it's more just the swelling and blurred
vision? As I understand it, was blurred vision. And so that was the reason, not concussion or anything like that. I got told blurred vision.
Were you pleased with it? You mentioned the contest earlier, that the fact that even after that first 20 minutes and obviously after the Dogs game last week, you were able to bounce back, that you won clearance, you won contested possession.
Yeah, we respond. I think we're far better in that space than what we have been, which gives us great confidence. But again, we've got to manage the patches that we haven't got control. Opposition have momentum, and the Swans, I don't know, they kick 5 goals perhaps in that patch, and we need to manage that better.
And just on the kind of the ruck battle at the moment, obviously Briggsy was, as you said, his place, like all the midfielders, was under a bit of pressure, and we saw Cal Brown almost play a really influential role kind of as that second ruck. I mean, do you have a clear idea of what that looks like going forward? Is that another area where we might see changes in the future as well?
Well, no, probably not. I mean, I thought Briggsy was pretty good today, based on watching it. I thought he competed really strongly. I thought his follow-up was good. Back to the Briggsy that we know. With Jake Riccardi being out and missing this game, we went with Cal Brown as the second ruck, and I thought he provided some really good athleticism around that contest, and his follow-up stuff was quite good. So, but having said that, I thought Ricker was outstanding last week as the second ruck. So, I think we've got a couple of options to go with that second ruck. Just depends who's fit and available and how we're playing.
What was your reasoning with Jake Stringer as a sub today?
Yeah, his preparation into really all season has been a little bit, ever since he got quite crook a week and a half before this, the opening round. It's just been a bit patchy. We know he hurt his hamstring and missed a chunk of footy, and then he got crook again last week and played crook. And so I made an error of judgment there playing him. I thought he'd be okay, but he wasn't, and he's, if he felt better towards the end of the week and got through a full training session, but it's just been a little bit patchy, his preparation, and so we thought if we can sort of get a good block of running into him after being the sub, then that'll help him in future weeks.
Is that something you, I guess, foresee for him in future weeks, just to build up more football in it?
Possibly, yeah. We'll assess. I thought when he come on, he was okay. So he's out there running at the moment, trying to top up. We need to get some work into him to get him near his best. And if that means he misses a week and we use that extra week to train him and get some work into him, then that's what we'll do.
You backed in Joey Delana today for his debut. Is that sort of, I guess, going a bit smaller, is that the forward mixture that you like? And obviously, what did you think of Joey's game?
Yeah, well, I liked a mix of chase and tackle, and Joey did that for us for the most part. I think he had 5 tackles. First game in, I thought he competed really well. He showed up to where we need him. He didn't have much of the ball. I think he had 3 touches in the end, so we need to get a little bit more out of him in that space. But he'll be better in his next game.
It felt like that was Finn's best game for a couple of weeks in particular. He really tried to take control of that midfield area. I mean, what do you make of finding that consistency now of those sorts of performances from someone who clearly we know how much talent he has?
Yeah, well, he does, and he's still growing his game. He's still learning about what it takes to be an elite AFL midfielder, and he's on his way towards that. I thought his ability to show up a contest and really get after the ball was really good. His defensive running was really quite strong. So there's aspects of his game that I'm really pleased in, and I think that's the reason why he's able to have an impact the way he is.
And we saw a lot of sort of run and dare from Joe Fonte in his first game for the season. Were you pleased with his sort of impact early?
Yeah, well, that's how he's been playing in the VFL. That's his strengths. He's got great speed and run, and so we saw a lot of moments of that today, which is good. We'll continue to try and grow that as best as we can.
And I know you mentioned, Stringer, that maybe he needs to do a little bit of work since he's had that illness, but to come and have those 3 goals late and to really have that impact, it's kind of a little snippet of what you guys are bringing him to the club for, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and his goals were kind of when we needed them, just keep in the hunt and we're still a chance here type of thinking. That they were all pretty different and good goals, and so we know his capability. We've got to get him near his best in terms of fitness and athleticism in the short term, so that he can reach that what he's capable of. He's not quite there at the moment through some illness. Thank you.
Thank you.